Hello everyone, welcome to another video here. I would like to share some ideas on playing counterpoint on the guitar, playing a couple of different melodies, starting with two melodies at the same time. So the inspiration for this coming from, I have this bad habit of practicing just repetitious stuff, listening to interviews, and I was watching one with Johnny Smith, ridiculous, great guitar player. Played a lot with Stan Getz early in the early 50s, like some amazing recordings, like playing bebop. I don't think he gets talked about that as much as he should. But anywho, but he did a whole lot of that, like just playing solo introductions or solo guitar stuff, and with a bunch of melodies going different ways at the same time. So I think a good tune that's the one that I was working on here before, Stella by Starlight. First, I would make sure that you know two things. For whatever tune you're working on, you gotta know the chords and the melody, right? So just learn. I'm playing shell voices, nothing fancy. This is a little the way Miles did it. So without wondering, and then what's the next chord? If you're doing that, then you need to, before you try to play, you need to, like, either in your head, like, listen to a bunch of different recordings, until you actually know you're able to play the chords, okay? And then the melody, the way I say, you can play, like, knowing the notes of the melody in a convincing ways, especially this one that there's no like 100% right way to play it. If you hear any different people, great players who recorded this song, they have a little freedom, they interpret the melody. So those two things first, you gotta know the chords, you gotta know the melody. Then I think one next step thing, if you're playing trio or solo guitar, is to put them together, like to play, first, block chords, right? To find voices that have that melody on the note. That melody note on top, that's what I mean. Here's the 9, the 5, then the 4th, the majors, the minor 7, the 11, or whatever, the 4th again. That's how then no, the major third on the half, the minor third on the half diminished chord, then the 5, and then the melodies on the sharp 5, or to find like the voices that have those melody notes. C minor with the 11 on top. Now here comes the sharp 11. Yeah. Or the 9. So the way I did it now, it's starting to sound a little bit like music, but it sounds like a student, like a beginning student. If you're just playing, we are all students, but there's more you can do with this piece of wood, with those strings, and that's what I wanted to share. I'm 4 minutes into the introduction. Great. So you gotta know the melody, you gotta know the chords, and put them together. Find out, the first thing. So the melody, the chord here, the melody is an A, and the chord is an E half diminished. A happens to be the 11th. So you gotta find a couple of voices. How many different ways can you voice that? Um, that's one thing. But I was gonna talk about counterpoint, right? So this is like just kind of prerequisites. If this is sounding too complicated, then you should probably stop now and work on those things. Stella by Starlight. It's not that crazy. You can do it. 32 bars. You just memorize the chords. Maybe you can use a lead sheet. But you have to have intellectually, like to be able to say the chords and also be able to hear the sounds, where they go, and to play like in a way that you can tell that's Stella, even if you're not playing the melody, just the chords. Cool. So after you have those things, and then if you want to get a little bit next level, which is the thing that Johnny Smith does a lot. Russell Malone, another one that was watching another interview and playing some patterns before. So Russell Malone does a lot of. Every good guitar player does that. George Van Apps, I think, does a lot. Like he does that with big voice, like a bunch of voices moving at the same time. Let's do with two. So we already know the chords. I guess I'm just gonna play a little bit and see if something pops up that I could talk about. So. So that was one chorus. And I'm avoiding playing the root. You know, I did play just like, I tried to find some little melodies with keeping the melody note on top and changing like keeping the melody note on top and then finding another melody. Which is different than doing this, which is you should probably do first. There's a masterclass by Kurt Rosenwinkel, another of my favorite guitar players. I don't know where, but he plays body and soul, and he does that. He plays just the melody and then the melody with the chords, with just the bass line. So it will be. Which is should have talked about it earlier probably. But anyways, there's a lot of material about this. I just wanted to share the way that I've been working on. And one little exercise that you can do before you start, it might be a little haunting to start like trying to do that on a song, to have all these moving things on it, because you have to improvise, you have to hear the lines, you have to find them on the guitar. So if you want to step on another thing that I do this type of stuff as warm-ups, is this, to keep a melody on top. It could be on the bottom as well, but to study like a pedal point type of thing. The good old C major scale. So I was doing something like this. At first, you can just play the scale, like keep the. You know what I do is this. Oops. No, one more. Etc. go on the bottom, but so what I'm doing, if you I have a system, I should write a book about it. It's not that revolutionary, but it's called, I call it the vacuum cleaner mode of style of practicing scales. And I did it here, like, so what I did, I started on whatever note, and then I just played the scale now, C major scale down. I started on a G, and then I played all the other notes all the way to the bottom of the instrument, and then up. And then now on my neck, I did like as much as possible up to the point that I played the note on the scale right before the G, which is F. So that's, and then after I played that interval, I moved my top note up to the next possible note on the scale, which happens to be A. Oops. No, why am I missing? There you go. The same, exact same thing. I did. So, the idea here, I don't know what did Johnny Smith practice, but I'm sure they had some sort of, or maybe some people can just improvise, But I think this type of like isolating the idea, just practicing scales is kind of like a soccer drill. You're like practicing just passing, and see, there's some players that there's Romário, if you know soccer, Brazilian soccer, players who hated training, who hated practice. They just like going to the game, and like they went to crazy parties the night before and then went to the game and it was all fresh and inspiration. Sure, that's an approach. But another approach is to do what Cristiano Ronaldo did and does, which is practice like a maniac and work out case scenarios, So I think it's good to have a balance of both, like to be on when you're on a performance situation, to be prepared to just be inspired and and play fresh things that come straight from God, or at the same time have some worked out stuff that that you already played before, so you know how it feels to play that. So if God doesn't send you anything, you have you can rely on something else. And I think that's enough. I already shared, like I played a little bit of Stella and I showed one exercise. Of course, you can just on that exercise that I showed you, you can do the first thing. That's the one that I was actually working on before. Instead of just playing the scale, like play the scale but with a little pattern. Like play the scale in thirds, but with that note on top. Backwards. So what I just did here now, that's something that I like calling like the swimmer's twist, when you're going swimming all the way to one side of the pool And then instead of stopping and turning around and then going to the other side, if you want to keep doing many, many laps, you need to go and you need to learn that thing that you do the little twist, turn around, boom. Then you can keep going back and forth without stopping, right? You can swim for as long as you, whatever, you can swim for 20 minutes. And the same thing here with scales. If you learn those little twists, after you get back, you're going back. I think it's a healthy thing for your rhythm. Just keep the thing going without like, okay, I got to the top, stop. Because then on a musical situation, you are gonna do that. You are gonna play a line going up, followed by a line going down. So better practice. All right, enough is enough. See you later. Subscribe to this thing. This is I'm gonna post this on YouTube unlisted, but send it post it on my Patreon page. It's stupid cheap. It's like $3 per month. If you want to pay 10 or 30, you can, but you can subscribe for $3 per month. And it's just, once again, not very polished. I'm just sharing what I'm practicing, and I'm open to suggestions of whatever you're working on. If you want me to try to help out, I will. All right, later.